You have an audience following you for drawing, and now you're talking about legal shit. And by the way, the old man in the middle here went through it as well. I built my career for 5 years on talking about wine, and then just one day said, I'm gonna talk about business and marketing now, and everyone's like, what? So a couple things. You can fear the fact that there's a start over. You can fear that you're not going to get as many listens and views. You can fear that you'll get comments that are like, you're a sellout, or I miss the old you. But what you must fear the most is when you want to do something that is in your soul and stomach, staying for them versus going for you will make you the most unhappy. It will bring the worst out of everything. And so, unfortunately, it's just the way it is. As humans, if you stay for the wrong reasons, even when those seemingly are wonderful traits of being loyal or trying to do the right thing by somebody that did right by you, it is not sustainable.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is, everyone who goes through this journey needs to put their ego on the shelf. They need to lean into humility. They need to lean into the joys of the early days of starting at zero. And so you know this, even the way you were talking about Instagram, you've already lived through things changing with platforms that have nothing to do with your content. There are ebbs and flows in times where you're getting more views than ever, then you're more viral than ever. Even think about sports and music. Like, there's just sometimes you're on and you're having a good season, and other times you're not. Music. You can go through 24 months where you're as big as anybody in the world, and then you can go 3 years and people forgot that they hear your song and they're like, yo, what happened to 3-6 Mafia, even though they're legends. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So I think you need to lean into a zen place of, I know why I'm doing this, and it came earlier. The way you talked about selling shit, you're there, kid.
I know.
So it may hurt, it may not do as well. Your first post a couple years ago or a year ago, whenever, might do better than future ones because it was the first time you ever sold anything. You built up so much equity. Some people just bought that shit just to support you because they've been enjoying you so much. But then that balance of what you give versus what you take, it changes. All of that's okay. All of it's appropriate. I think you just need to realize it's gonna be a slog. Or it might not be, because it's not like you're doing what Colin and I did. You're not going so far away.
Totally.
It's not like you're now selling tires.
Right, exactly. I'm like, guess what, everybody?
So I think what you're probably worried about is you inherently know already it's harder to get views than it was when you blew up, and now you're gonna tweak it, and that probably is gonna compound that. Yeah. Don't live for the algorithm. Live for your happiness.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Being associated with likes and followers dictating what you make is really one of the big vulnerabilities right now in the creator economy.
It's bad.
People are showing too much. I mean, I really worry for people that are attractive. Both boys and girls hit me up pretty often about how do I stop showing my fucking boobs and ass and chest and pecs and six pack. I'm not that person anymore. But every time I try to go into anything else, I'm like, listen, your audience came for the visual modeling, and now you want to talk about origami. There's going to be a transition, but you can't keep showing your skin because you're addicted to the likes. You've moved on and want to talk about being a barber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just going to have to deal with the transition, but you're going to find a new audience. My audience is bigger than ever because of where I went, even though it was a hard reset.
Different sides of my personality.
Good.
I do get hate sometimes.
Yeah, stick to drawing.
Yeah. Especially,
this
if I
is
give an
boring,
opinion on something, it's I came here for the drawing.
It's you're going there, of course.
Yeah.
And opinions are impossibly hard for us human beings to handle now. We're incapable of handling an opinion from someone that isn't ours.
And it goes in my DMs and stuff, and it's all right, so this is getting rid of some people that I don't really want following me anyways, and hopefully the people that appreciate
let's talk about that, Colin. I'm not gonna actually use you, but I'm gonna level it up, and I just want everybody to hear this. I actually think, and Colin's incredibly sweet, you can already tell, but I think it's an important statement that I want to tag on to because I want to bring Dahlia in this podcast. Look, I think we all know what we're talking about, subtly talking about here, whether it's politics, social issues, there's a lot going on. This concept of people being mad at you and no longer following you because they don't agree with something that you said, being people that you didn't want following you anyway, I think it's something we need to challenge. And I'm not picking.
That's fine.
It's just normal talk.
I'm a lawyer. I like the debate.
And by the way, I'm sure I've said it as well, so it's not even about that. It's just a fun convo that I'd like to bring up. Just quick little commercial break. I really think we need to think about that. That is the point of the joke I made prior a minute ago, which is like, the only way out of this anxiety that everyone's feeling is we need to get back to the capacity to have some form of civility and empathy for understanding why someone doesn't see it your way. We have to. Like for me, some of my friends I'm aware whether they're to the left or the right, why they don't see something the same way as me, because their mom or grandmother both raised them and like we're really about XYZ. I'm not even gonna go into the specifics, but we need to get back to like having compassion for, and to your point, Colin, this is why I jumped in, I'm not mad at the nastiest stuff that gets sent to me, I'm trying to have compassion for. But to your point, man, it hurts. Like when you are getting really railed on, like, and sometimes scared. I mean, I think guys have it better than girls. Like, girls' DMs get really scary because guys on tilt to women are like anybody on tilt, like women on women, men on men is always bad. But guys on tilt to women sometimes go into really uncomfortable places. Yeah, very dark. And so, like, in general, we need to have, if someone has the capacity to go dark on you, they're not in a good place. And by the way, now I'm like, it's so funny, I just realized why I'm saying this. In the last 72 hours, and Sid is in the room right now, and Sid and I got a very interesting DM from Twitter about 6 months or a year ago from somebody apologizing for something that was really detrimental to me. So, and I don't want to go any further, but like a real heartfelt apology. And at the end was, I was just in a bad place and I was using you. In the last 72 hours, I got 2 more of those, not to the same level of the one that I'm referring to with Sid. One was solid, I remember it. One, very honestly, I don't really remember, so it was kind of minor. Both apologizing in DM for doing bad things and using me, and both ending with, explaining the justification, just in a very dark place in my life. I was in a bad place in my life. It is just so clear that the people that are sending the nastiest stuff are not in a great place, and it is on us. Anyone who's not. I'm in a super great place, so I'm doing who I'm doing. But a lot of us are just neutral. Wouldn't say we're remarkable, wouldn't say that we're fucking dark.
Yeah.
I think all of us in the middle have to look in the mirror and say, I need to choose bright. Because it feels like the middle decided to choose dark in the last 7 to 10 years. And so everyone in the middle, if you're just kind of like, okay, not loving life, but not like fucking hating it that you want to go around and fucking threaten people and shit on people, can you just choose 2024? Like, well, I'll give you a lot of time. I'll give you to January 1st. Can you rewind this 6 months in a row and just like, can you choose in 2024 to just choose light instead of dark? I think that could really help. Anyway, I apologize I went on that tangent, but I just realized why, because man, it really hurts. Like, and it's, and what people think is like everything everyone says is like intended to hurt them. And it's not. Everyone's sharing everyone. We're all kind of equal in our opinions. Like, it's your opinion. And like, of course, there's a moral right or wrong, but people's moral right and wrongs are different too. Like, it's a wild world. We just need to be a little more optimistic and a little bit more empathetic. The days of the content we're all consuming being based on who we follow is changing.
Yeah.
So for years I've been pushing do everything on your channel, and everyone would always get mad at me. Yet the algorithms did the work for me. As we all know, it's now no longer social media acting like an email newsletter where everyone sees everything you post. It's the content is the variable of what people see.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to actually post both.
Yeah, I'm like worried about the mixed
I know
messaging.
You are, because will that fuck up the algorithm?
Right.
The content is the variable.
Mm-hmm.
If you put out 800 pieces of content as a barber about being a barber, mm-hmm. and your next post is about you rock climbing and talking about like the protein bar you ate, if that's a great rock climbing protein bar post, it has the potential to do better than any post you've ever had. The algorithm is not penalizing you per se for doing something different. Yes, in the first early seconds, if your audience doesn't engage as much, there may be some things, but it also may lead to the thing that you should be doing. Just like you serendipitously from your music to, wait a minute, I'm actually something else. Like, you're not gonna get as penalized as you think. If nothing else, do it for a year and see what it feels like.
Yeah.
More than ever, social media is about the individual piece of content versus staying to the things that you always needed to talk about.
Right, it's very much I get stuck and like, oh, I've been posting this all the time. And then it's very much like, okay, well, this is for professionals. And then, oh, also, I know the professionals won't buy this, but here's another product for people that just want press-on nails. It's all under the same umbrella, which is great.
I think you should do it both there. And I also think like once every 20 times, you should do just one post about you talking about both parts of the world.
Yeah.
It's like a nice reference point. It might be a good pinned for you.
A story,
you might,
some sort of-
or a pinned post.
Yeah.
Now that we have that, like top left corner of your main accounts, as for people that are in social creative every day probably are following with what I'm saying, you may want to have one manifesto video. As a matter of fact, in general, that's probably a good strategy for most people. The top left pinned post for everyone should probably be a long form video kind of giving everyone a what's up here. Yeah, I think that actually we might be creating the movement of a standard practice right now, because it actually makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Everyone's top left pin post should actually be a recap video of what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like here's what you'll see here, here's what you can expect from me, here's what I'm about.
This is me.
Well, I like that.
I like it.
Me too.